Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of CNB Bazaar Buzz here on the NDTV network. I hope you've had a great Diwali and a great New Year. It's time for a new show this week, and as always we've got a jam-packed show with a couple of really hot cars for you and some very exciting technology too. Let's get straight into it. The Urus, driven in India. Tata's hot subcompact sedan. And we do a road trip with the Marazzo. So let's kick things off with our lead story this week on the show. Last week we brought you the Tigor JTP on the Car and Bike Show. This week on Bazaar Buzz, it's time for its sibling. It's not a hot hatch, it's the hot subcompact sedan from Tata Motors. It's the Tigor JTP. I've been hooning around in it near the hills of Coimbatore, and as you can see from the smile on my face, it's quite a nice car to drive. Check it out. It's the world's first hot subcompact sedan, a phrase that I personally never thought I would say. The Tigor JTP. And yes, while its sibling, the Tiago hatchback, is red hot, the Tigor we see here, in typically subcompact sedan style, is a little more subtle in this shade of white. But so as not to confuse you with every other Uber or Ola out there, JTSV or JM Tata Special Vehicles has souped up the Tigor just like they did with the Tiago. So, visually, you get a set of bigger bumpers up front and in the rear, a blacked out grille which is larger 15-inch wheels, and those active vents on the fenders, and of course the one that I like most, that active vent on the bonnet. It's the same with the interiors. The Tigor has identical interiors to the Tiago in terms of overall design, but also gets added features like climate control, and the infotainment system also gets that reverse camera. But honestly, we do like the way the Tigor feels on the inside. From the all-black interior to the thicker leather-wrapped steering wheel, it just feels special. And of course, there are those red accents too. But we aren't here to talk about a set of sportier bumpers or bigger wheels or red caps on the mirrors or even that nicer looking interior. I'm here to talk about what's underneath the skin. And as you can see from this active vent on the bonnet, there is a new engine underneath. It is, of course, the one from the Nexon. It's a turbocharged petrol engine, 1.2 litres, 3-cylinder, and that makes 112 bhp of peak power and 150 Newton meters of torque. Essentially, this thing, as I mentioned, is turbocharged, and when you do lift off between 3 and 4,000 RPM, makes just the right childish turbo noises, and that excites me. So, how does it drive? Well, the proof of the pudding isn't how pretty it looks, but how it actually tastes. So what better than to head to the hills and find out. Boy oh boy, does this car excite. 0 to 100 is dealt with in under 10 seconds, and although limited electronically to 160 for some strange reason, the Tigor JTP is just as much fun in a straight line as compared to the Tiago. And it makes all the right noises too. The turbo blow-off valve, the exhaust, it's all just so satisfying. But it's even better when you show it a set of bends. And this is where the JTP cars really start to excel. The suspension balance has of course changed. It is now slightly lower, running on slightly wider wheels and slightly wider tires. 185 section, 65 cross section on that. 185/65 R15 to be precise. And of course the ground clearance has gone down slightly as compared to the normal cars, the standard Tiago and the Tigor. So it does get a better center of gravity, and honestly it does sort of show, because the Tiago and the Tigor were both really good to drive in corners earlier, and now they've become really good to drive. Handling is genuinely really flat, and it does make you have a ton of fun through corners. It's really confidence inspiring too. In fact, it wants you to push harder, it wants you to go faster. All in all, the Tigor JTP is a very unique car. It is the first of its kind in the world, and while it might not spawn a new segment the way the Tiago just might, it will most certainly be a significant car in India's automotive history. Should you buy one over the Tigor JTP? Well, this is more practical, has slightly more features, and at 7,50,000 rupees it is priced really well too. All in all, if you are a young family man or woman and considering a subcompact sedan like the Desire, I urge you, drive this first. The lure of affordable performance might just have you choose your heart over your head. That is certainly a car worth considering if you're in that segment, and definitely is red hot, even though that particular car was white. But now from something really nice and affordable in terms of performance to something on the other scale, but redefining physics and redefining performance in terms of SUVs. It's the Lamborghini Urus, and we've driven it right here on our soils in India, and Ameya has been having a fantastic weekend with it. Check out his review.
It was not long ago that we brought you a very detailed review of the fastest SUV in the world. We told you how the Lamborghini Urus tackled every kind of terrain, may it be on-road, off-road, or even the track. But of course, Indian roads are a different breed altogether, and we were eagerly waiting to drive it on home turf.
So Siddharth has already told you a lot about this car, and we have driven it extensively. What you don't know is, well, how India has reacted to this car. Frankly, Lamborghini brought it here just 38 days after its global launch. And now, well, it's already selling like hotcakes. The allotment hasn't been actually given to us, but we for surely know that there are at least 10 cars that have been sold, and deliveries have already started from September, which actually is good for us because we'll see more of these cars on our roads. Well, enough talk, let's get into the car and go out for a drive.
The new Urus sits on Volkswagen Group's MLB Evo architecture, which underpins the Audi Q7, Porsche Cayenne and Bentley Bentayga. But it is a lot different in terms of how it drives when compared to all of these.
And that engine is very special too, because it's the first time ever that Lamborghini has come out with a turbocharged engine. The rest of Lambos always get naturally aspirated ones. This one gets a 4-litre twin-turbo V8 engine. And that's special because it makes 641 brake horsepower, 850 Newton meters of torque on over. I'll let you get your head around all those numbers. 0 to 100 in less than 4 seconds. And that's what you want in a car, don't you? Especially a Lamborghini. And it is the fastest SUV in the world, 305 kilometers per hour. And it's that exhaust note you love each and every time you downshift. There you go, and you just can't keep that smile off your face when you're in the car.
You do get a lot of stares from people around you, not just because of the soundtrack of the exhaust, but also because of the way it looks. It's a Lamborghini after all, and spectacular is the only way to describe how this one has been designed. The large hexagonal air intakes, the low-level front spoiler, LED DRLs, and the familiar Y shape used in the design all bring the aggressive face of the Urus together. And it also contributes to the aerodynamics of the car. According to the folks at Lamborghini, each panel contributes to the car's overall drag coefficient, and this also contributes to the Urus having a very quiet cabin. The cabin is pretty luxurious too. Would you expect anything different? The center console that you see right here reminds you of the LM002. It was broad and similar to what the Urus gets. Of course, the purposes were a lot different. The Urus gets the virtual cockpit, and yes, that's something which was expected. However, it's very different to the other cars we've seen it in. This one has been fully customized with Lambo's font as also designed. The information is displayed across two screens. The upper screen serves the purpose of managing music, sat-nav, telephone calls and the like, while the lower screen is a keyboard for your inputs. Of course, it comes with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto as standard. The hexagonal theme continues on the inside too, through the air vents, the door handles, cup holders and even the airbag modules. And this sportiness continues on the rear seat too.
Now, furthering the talk about it being a practical car is the fact that it has a wheelbase of 3003 millimeters, which means there's more space for the people at the rear as well. Now, according to the company, a 6'3" person can easily sit here, and well, I'm shorter than that. I'm at home. Yes, there is a bit of headroom that we would have loved, but then you wouldn't get that nice sloping roof silhouette from the outside. But practical solutions here are abundant. So you have glove boxes on the side, you have cup holders here, you have your storage facility here. Even here, in fact, there is a nice storage with 2 USB ports. And of course, a rear AC vent is here and controls to the aircon. So all of these actually make it very practical. In fact, even the seats can be adjusted electrically. Now, what more do you want in a super sport SUV? There's more power, more space, and yes, there's more at the rear too.
There's good enough space for your luggage. There's 616 litres of space on offer, and with the rear seats down, that space is extendable to 1596 litres. So now to the main question. How does it ride on Indian roads?
And that question actually should not arise at all, because it's super comfortable. Air suspension on all 4 sides, and you can actually select the kind of comfortable levels you want it to be on. So it can be a sports, or it can be a sports SUV. It can be your regular cruising down on the highway kind of SUV, and you won't mind it at all. What is different about this Lamborghini especially is that when you see a pothole, you don't squirm in your seat and say, oh, will it make it to the other side? Because this one definitely will.
At 3 crore 10 lakh rupees, the Urus isn't exactly cheap. And yes, there are times when you think if the Urus at heart is a marketing product or one that at its very core is a Lamborghini. The Italian car maker has thrown everything at it to change the very definition of an SUV. So it's big, practical, luxurious, and probably not very fuel efficient. But it's quick enough to blur out the rest of the world.